G'day everyone, and welcome back. So this morning, Henry and I need to get a tyre off of the loader. Ben obviously was using our loader and the front tyre popped. So it's the first time we've actually done a tyre on this loader since we've had it. So it was bound to happen at some point, and when you're doing hard work on it, like gravel, may as well go then, I suppose. So I'll show you all. I've ordered 2 tyres, and they're not going to come down until it's going to be a couple of days, which is a bit annoying. But I'll show you when we get down there, because the tyres are all getting cracked and worn and things like that. So it was inevitable for it to happen. So what I'm doing is loading up my ute with the jack. I need to go and empty the trailer of all that insulation because I still haven't got to that. I need the socket set and the gun, and then at 9 o'clock Henry should be coming back in for a fill for gypsum, and then I'll meet him down at the gravel pit and we'll get that changed, and then we're just going to use the telehandler to lift the tyre on the back of the trailer, because I honestly don't feel like trying to lift a big heavy tyre, so yeah. Another thing I got to do today is I want to start this and just shift it, even if it's just bringing it over and closer, because we do need the air compressor every time we want to start it. But there is a bit of an issue with this. I tried to move it the other day and the air tank, I'm not sure what was going on, it just wouldn't take, basically the air starter wouldn't start. So I got to figure that out. So I'm going to pump this up later on, and we'll get to and see if I can nail out where the air's leaking from or something like that. But I thought I'd address, I get a lot of questions about why don't I use the PDO, the PDO pump, so this thing, for spraying, for the firefighting. Look, it's a good idea for stationary. So my thought was that we could use it for when we need to fill up, because sometimes the issue we have is you got a great pump, but it's hard to prime and fill up from, an external water source. So I thought, it'd be great to have that, and then we could just hook that onto a tank or into a dam and suck water in. But the issue, obviously, is you've got to have this, and you've got to have that big hydraulic tank back there, and that's just not going to work. So, we can't have that. And then for actual firefighting, drive along fighting a fire, you can't use truck PDOs when moving. You can for a little bit, so, like when Ben's using the PDO to tip side tippers and drive along, it's only very, very short periods that you're using it. You will damage the truck's PDO and probably the truck as well if you use it for a long period of time and at high revs, because obviously when you're driving this at a fire, you're being gear 1 or something, and at the top of the range, so you're revving quite high, which is not good for the truck's PDO. The other thing, whenever you go to change a gear, or you're stopped, or you got your foot on the clutch, the PDO will disengage. So you can imagine trying to go after a fire, and then you just water stops and then starts again because you've changed gear in the truck. Other things are like when you're stationary and you're fighting a fire, but the truck driver will normally have his foot on the clutch in gear, ready to go to move to the next spot. So again, you can't operate a PDO pump with a clutch engaged because it doesn't work. So that, I thought I'd address it now instead of replying back to everybody who keeps on asking. I have replied to a fair few of you, but that's the reason. You can't actually use a PDO pump on the go. You just can't. So I'll finish off getting this trailer and stuff sorted, and we'll go and change that tyre, and then we'll sort this thing out. Just a little bit of extra insulation. So if anyone is building a house or wanting to re-insulate their roof or something like that, hit me up, because that'll do like a whole house. So yeah, anyway, I've still got about 45 minutes until Henry is going to be able to come down and give me a hand. So what I might do is I'm just going to hook on and pump up the air system, so the brakes and the bags, just pump that up on the truck, get that all up, and then I might then start pumping air into the starter tank and see if we can start it or not, shall we? I need to install a tap. So I've got the whole truck systems there good, and I can hear an air leak in there somewhere. I reckon what I'll end up doing is clearing the pit, reversing, if I can get this thing started, reversing it in, pump it back up, and just have a look underneath there, because that will obviously fail it when it goes to get what's it called, licensed. The machine needs to obviously hold its air, and then assume this has 2 air tanks. They drain 1 air tank, and you're meant to still be able to release and put the brakes on with the other air tank. So yeah, I do need to make sure that it's all good and working. So I'll start pumping this one up and see what happens with this one. This one was the one that I was having issues with the other day, so we'll see. Maybe that's my issue. I'm not getting actually any air in there. I mean, I was the other day, I could actually hear it going in, but this shouldn't be full. Let's see. Well, that's interesting, because when I had no air at all in the other tanks, and there we go, that's filling it up. When I had no air at all in the truck system, it was, well, I did just give it a go, just see if there's any air in this tank here. And that didn't start, there was absolutely nothing, not a thing. So then, somehow it must bleed air back into the system when you fill in the main tank. And it tried to start, as you guys heard. But then, now I do have this issue of that is the part that we had to put on, but that is now still just leaking out air. What is wrong with a starter motor? Why air? It's a starter motor is so simple. No, it's a losing battle. Everything I was just putting into there was just leaking up the other end there. Not even enough pressure in here to charge or start the motor. So, well, I didn't even do any winding. I'm gonna now put it back onto the truck main system just to pump that up. And yeah, I'll go and do this tyre. And when I go back, hopefully I can then just chuck it onto here and start again. And pump this up, and if not, I'll push start it and then get it in there, and I can sort out try and have a look at the issue of the air for the main system. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Okie dokie, so when Ben said he popped a tyre, he wasn't kidding. It is, yeah, she exploded. Look at that. Right there, she's completely gone. I reckon it probably popped, and then he's just driven a little bit on it, because you can see he's got the bucket full, which is never ideal. But yeah, it wasn't Ben's fault. Let me show you these tyres. I think this is our best tyre, but even that, you can see we got cracks in them. So I mean, it was only a matter of time, yeah, before something was going to happen. Same with this one, we got cracks in there. So yeah, that tyre's buggered anyway, so I'm just gonna start her up, tip that out, and reverse just straight back, so that we're out of the pit and everything, and we'll attack it. Right, now I've got it out. You can see what happened. So essentially, what's happened is one of these cracks has just gone and exploded. So I'll ask Henry's opinion when he gets here, but I do have 2 tyres on the way. Now, all the weight is always on the front, because when you come in, you got a load, puts the weight down on the front. I'm sort of thinking that maybe we'll replace this one as well, because Ben's still got a lot of gravel work to do, and Brian, as he's a trucking company, he hates to see the trucks stopped. So I'd hate for it to be get Ben back up and working, because it's going to be 3 days that he's going to be out. So to finally get Ben back up and working, and then have another tyre pop like next week something, because you can see there's a lot of pressure on these tyres. So maybe, just maybe, Henry and I might be taking 2 tyres off today. And yeah, we'll see how we go. And the other thing is, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like Monday, Tuesday, it's all 40 degrees. So I can't really have Ben working on those days either. So I just want to make sure that I've got, when he does get going, it doesn't stop. So yeah, we'll see what Henry reckons, but I reckon, yeah, we'll take 2 off. So more fun for us. So to do this safely, what I'll be doing is lifting the whole loader up using the bucket. So then we've got it up, put blocks underneath, and because I was only planning to do one side, I was going to jack it. Now I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to be missing tyres on both sides. Our bucket creeps, so I can't use the bucket permanently. I've got those blocks. I've got a couple more that would do one side, but it's not going to do both. So I'm just going to go back to the shed, grab some more blocks, and then we can get the blocks in there. Then we can lift it up and then just add the 1 or 2 more blocks that we need just to get to our perfect height for both sides. And then, yeah, we can take some tyres off. Rightio, so Henry's same opinion as me, that we'll take them off, take both off and change both. So what we're going to do is Henry's just going to crowd the bucket out, lift this machine up, and then I'll slide some, we've got blocks all ready to go, but we'll just get some more blocks underneath so it's all lifted off the ground, and then we'll be right to go. Just hold there, because you're still on the ground for both tyres, and I'll slide in some more. Yep, leave it like that. Right, so we just had to lift it back up again and just reposition the blocks. As you can see, they're not ideal. They are on a bit of an angle. Not much we can do. There's no jack points here. See how the diff is on an angle, but it's now sturdy. My earthquake test works quite well, and we do have the bucket on the front there, which will support it as well. So yeah, we'll get to it and undo some tyres. No?
Nah.
So Henry and we just snuck back to the shed because I didn't bring down the big socket set. That's going to be loud. So we got the correct socket size now. And then as we're driving back down, I was thinking, well, we probably should have got a hammer or something to try and get these tyres off. So these tyres are the original Chinese tyres, because this is a Louis Gong Chinese loader. And this is our fertiliser loader. And yeah, we're a bit, well, I don't know how easy it's going to be to get these tyres off. You know, we've had this since 02 or 04. There's a panel on the side here that tells us its date. 08 we got this. So since then we haven't done a tyre or pulled these tyres off. So I'm going to put this camera down and we're going to try and break some nuts. Is the handbrake on?
It is.
Oh my god. Stop.
Wow.
Oh, you need more wheat bix, Henry. You're right.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go.
You just need to be a bit heavier.
Obviously.
Is this the same one?
Nah, it's different.
Come on, ready?
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Oh, good?
Yep.
Oh, God. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Oh. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. That's just moving the tyre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alright, so this plate here is that this is obviously the rim, and then this here is the what it's sitting on. We've got to get it over the hub, so this is the hub. And it is just completely rusted on there. Completely. I'm just going to show you the back tyre that doesn't get pushed into fertiliser. Look at that. Look how nice and clean that is. We'd have no issues with that back one. So Henry's just got the wire brush there. We're going to try and wire brush it, get it clean, and then we'll see how I see it. And then hopefully we can get it off. If not, we might need to go and get the sledgehammer and whack it or something like that. We don't want to try and pull it with a telehandler because we're only on blocks, and who knows what could happen if you do that. So at the moment, Henry's just got a screwdriver and just trying to scrape that edge just to make it a bit cleaner, a bit easier for us to penetrate with some CRC, and then try and break the rust that's joining it. But yeah, I think we're going to have a bit of fun with trying to get this thing off. Right, we're back from the shed. We got some penetrating oil and we've just put that on there. And then we've also got the hammer and a few crowbars. So the other side, it's not as rusty, but I think we got a better chance because when you hit the tyre with a hammer, you can break the rust up. But this is now a popped off tyre, so it's not got as much structure as the other side, but we have some fun. Yeah, it's just moving the tyre. Right, it's after lunch now. Henry and I have had an absolute nightmare with this thing. It is just absolutely stuck. So we've obviously shown you what we've been trying to do, trying to get it off. I'm assuming, well, depends if I've shown it or not already, but I was using a punch and punch in between here where all the, we're just trying to loosen it up off the, well, it's obviously rusted behind and on here. So we're just trying to shock the rust. That's our main point, is just to shock the rust, and then we'll be able to move it. So what we've got to do is we've got this nice big piece of axle here. I'm going to chuck that in between the bolts. We're going to use the sledgehammer and just absolutely hit it and see if that helps. Then the next thing, we're going to flip the telehandler around. We've got a chain. We're going to chain it to the telehandler and we'll tighten it. And then get that nice and tight, and then we'll try hitting it again and just see if we can get it that way. And yeah, just keep on keeping on. It's all we can do. We've got to try and get it off. And if all this fails, we'll see if ECTM are able to come out and do it on here. and I'm sure they've got the proper tools to be able to get that split ring off and yeah, do it properly. So that's where we're at. Hey,
The head back's not good enough.
is that pulling it backwards?
Yeah,
Ah!
that's annoying.
Are you shitting me?
I think I'll put the hand back on.
Henry. Did that do anything? No? Very tight. It's looking clear.
Yep.
What was that?
There's the tyre sucking in the ear, I think.
How is it not moving? So as you can see, we're having a hell of a lot of issue with this tyre. It is just welded on with that rust. It's just stuck. We're trying to shock the rust, but just can't get it. Yeah, you heard us probably before just saying we don't want to use heat because we don't want to damage the rim. You know, we could warp the rim and then who knows how long it would be to get a rim. So yeah, we've been going bottom, we would go on top. I reckon that probably works better because you're leveraging it. But now we're going to use the other chain, which is a bit longer. We'll make it all nice and neat and even and try and do a central pull for the whole tyre and see if that works. Failing that, I'm lost. Alright, the camera overheated, so yeah, I've been recording since that happened. We've been defeated. We cannot move this thing at all. It is quite literally just fused on there. We have done a lot of hitting. We had wheels. We went and borrowed wheels, hydraulic, like it's a big hydraulic jack, like a hydraulic press, but yeah, for getting things off. So we put that in there and we pushed that on the rim, and then so we had to force, like there would have been at least 10 to 11 ton of force on that thing pushing that way, and then we were hitting this way with that big axle. As hard as Henry could swing a hammer, nothing, not a thing. Yeah, the only thing we haven't done is heat. I don't want to do heat because you, with it being a rim, you risk ruining the rim, warping the rim, and who knows how rare these rims are. So yeah, look, we've been defeated. What's going to happen is ECTM, they are coming out Friday morning. Today's Wednesday. They've got a ute. Normally they've got a truck, and they do their farm calls with the truck and they change the tyre, but that's getting fixed. So they've got a ute, and they reckon they can still do it whilst it's on there with the ute. So I really hope they can. Yeah, I mean, also the biggest issue is that split ring, this thing here, we just cannot get off. Our theory was, you know, if we could get this off, then we could pull the whole tyre off, and then we could easily hit from the outside, because, you know, this is it's in the way, you can't get a good swing. But like, I bent my crow's feet doing that. So, and when I say a crow's foot, this is what we call crow's feet. I bent the tip on one of them, or two of them. That one's slightly bent, not sure if you can see. And, well, that one I bent back, but that's also bent there. So, yep, anyway, that's going to be the video. You wouldn't believe it, my mic went bloody flat right as I was saying goodbye. So anyway, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And wish me luck with trying to get this thing off. If I can get it off tomorrow, I'll race to town. If not, it'll be Friday when they come out and they'll change it. So anyway, we'll catch you in the next one.